Are backyard chickens worth the money, the hassle, and the time they actually take? Now, we've had chickens for the past 8 months, and we finally got to a point where we no longer need to go to the supermarket anymore because we get enough eggs. That is awesome. However, to get to this point, we did have to spend some money. And we have a lot of things going on right now because we have hens, we also have a rooster, we even have in here a broody hen that is hatching eggs for us. And back there, we also have some baby chicks. So I kind of have basically all the things chicken going on right now. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you everything I've learned so far and tell you, is it actually worth it to actually have chickens? Now, one of the first things you're going to need when you're getting into chickens is going to be a place to keep them. This is important because they sleep here, sometimes they even eat here, and it keeps them safe. Very important. However, I've seen some people spend upwards to $2,000 to $15,000 in a coop, and by that point, I just lose my mind. Because for us, this coop right here, we actually found it on Facebook Marketplace for about $100. It came with 6 chickens, a whole bunch of feed, and all of the materials we actually needed. And you know why that actually happens? It's because a lot of the times people romanticize keeping chickens. They find out we don't want them, and then they want to sell everything. And that's where you come in and I come in. So you can find a lot of good deals on Facebook Marketplace. But let's say you do want something a bit more better, okay? Something that is a lot more sturdy. This is our second coop, our big boy coop. We actually built this ourselves, and it has pretty much everything we need. It has nesting boxes right here, and it also has a whole bunch of roosting like things here. I'll show you guys videos, but the main point is that something like this, if you ask someone to make it for you and you buy it, it can cost you like $1,000, $2,000, but if you can make it yourself, you can save a ton of money. It cost me about $300 to $600, and I did it with a friend. And guess what? My wife just told me this: you do not need to buy a plan from somebody on YouTube. You can just watch a YouTube video and figure out exactly how to build it. Chickens do not care if it's pretty. They don't care about any of that stuff. You just need a secure place to actually place them. And by the way, one of the most important things is going to be right here. Maybe you can't see it, but I'll show it to you guys in the videos later. But this right here is actually fencing or hardware cloth. And I use hardware cloth here so nothing can actually dig under it while the chickens are actually sleeping. Now let me show you my third chicken coop that I have over here. This is a chicken coop that we actually built for free. And here's why I say for free. With all the leftover materials from building that coop, we were able to go ahead and build this one and just had to get some chicken wire. And this is where we keep our baby chicks so they can actually have a place to roam and stay and be separated from the rest of the flock because they will kill them, okay? They will peck at them and they will destroy them. So you want to have them separate until they're young enough to actually defend themselves, unless they have like a mom to take care of them. Now, while we are on the subject of keeping a coop, you may be asking, what do you use this coop for now, like the small one? I use it for when a hen goes broody. What that means is she wants to sit on eggs and hatch them, and I put her there separate so nobody gets in her way. Now, I'm gonna show you guys our broody hen that has about 18 eggs. Check this out, okay? And here she is, okay? She is amazing. I can hold her. Look at this. She's very nice, isn't she? I don't know why she's not picking at me. She is not like this, okay? She does not let me do any of this stuff, but she is letting me do it. Let me see if she lets me see the eggs, okay? No, she doesn't. But she's holding about 18 eggs in there. Now, while we're talking about eggs, I want to say that over 50% of you guys watching this video are not subscribed. So go ahead and subscribe to this video or this channel. And as long as you guys subscribe, I promise to make the best content I possibly can. Now, if you're wondering how do we clean this coop or how do we keep it from smelling like garbage basically, what we do is the deep litter method. So we put a whole bunch of dry hay They poop on it, we wet up a little bit, and then we put more hay and then more hay, and it's like this cycle. And then sometimes we even put a little food in there so that way they move it around themselves and everything like that. But that way there is no smell and we don't have to clean it that often. And whenever we come in to clean it, like every 6 months, maybe like twice a year, honestly, then what we can do is we can grab all of this hay with all that poop, which is just fertilizer, and then we can use it for our garden. So it is something we actually like a lot. So it's very simple and it doesn't take that much work at all. So altogether, if you want to buy a coop, I highly recommend just build one. If you just want to buy one, go on Facebook Marketplace and get a used one. A lot of people don't want them anymore and they want to get rid of them. So firsthand, between $300 to $500 or $100 if you're lucky, is probably a good starting point for a chicken coop. Now, second is going to be the ongoing cost of having chickens. And that's going to be, what do you feed them? Now, I'll tell you this, okay? We used to go to Tractor Supply or Atwoods and just buy our feed there until we started reading it and we were like, maybe we don't want to feed our chickens that. It's really not that good. And if you want some high quality feed, it's going to cost you a lot of money. And I did not want to do that either. And by the way, just a tip, you can find one of these storage bins on Walmart for maybe like $10. And this is where we keep our feed, because whenever you have like poultry feed, you're going to attract other pests and you want to make sure, well, they don't get in your house and they don't get in your feed. Now, here are a few things that we actually do to save a ton of money when it comes to our feed. Number one is we actually ferment our feed. So in here, I put about 2 cups or so of feed in water and I let it ferment for about a day or two. And that is actually a lot better for the chickens. Okay. Now, the second thing we actually do is this. As you can see, our backyard is not massive. Okay. We don't have a crazy backyard. However, this is a good enough yard so they can actually roam around and be pastured raised for the most part. Okay, so and that saves you a ton of money when it comes to feed costs, because they're not just in one space where all they can do is just basically eat. No, they get to roam around, they get to eat grass, weeds, bugs, whatever they find, including worms. Okay, now the third thing that we actually do is whenever my wife cooks and there's anything left over, well, she just goes ahead and feeds it to them. So they eat all of our kitchen scraps, which is actually phenomenal. Now, here's the fourth technique that I actually use to make sure that we save money on our feed, okay? Whenever I feed them over here, let me show you guys. This over here is a little chicken feeding deck that I built, and I kind of started to like unscrew it because I needed some screws and I didn't have any extra. But this is where they actually come, they hop on here and they just eat on their food. So whatever I put in here for the day, that's all I leave, okay? And they're forced to eat it. And when I come in the morning to feed them again, if there's still food there, I don't feed them anything else until this is completely empty. But usually it is empty, because they're basically picking at the grass 24/7. And that's how we save a ton of money on feed. Now, you may be wondering how much and where do we get our feed from? We actually get our feed from AzureStandard, and we spent about $250 in January, and in May, now we're spending another $250. So it's costing us about like $50 a month to actually buy our feed. Now, if you want to go on AzureStandard, I'm going to put a link down below. It is an affiliate link, and that way you can support the channel if you want to. And I'm going to tell you exactly in the description down below what we feed our chickens, so that way if you want to copy a recipe, you can copy them. However, I will say that we do have a mixed flock. We have a rooster and we also have hens. So it can't be too calcium dense, because then it will mess up our rooster. That's the idea. Now, it's time for my favorite part. Is this actually sustainable? Does it make sense financially? Is it worth the effort, all the work it takes? The answer is, for me and my family, it definitely is. Chickens do not take a lot of work to actually maintain. I see them like twice a day. I feed them and I lock them up. The most important thing with chickens is keeping them safe. because if you don't keep them safe, then a lot of accidents can actually happen. You know, we lost a couple of chickens a couple of days ago by our dogs because I think that somebody actually opened the door, let them out, and then the chickens or the dogs started playing with them and then got a whole bunch of our chickens. And that happens often. You will see a lot of videos on YouTube talking about this. So you have two options. You either have to train your dogs to take care of them, or two, you have to keep your chickens very secured because coyotes will get them, raccoons will get them, possums will get them, everything will get them because chickens really aren't that smart. It used to be that chickens would actually just hide in the trees, but now they're not doing that. They're in some fancy coop, so that's a big problem. Now, the second thing is, guys, when it comes to the money, we're only spending about $50 a month on our chickens, okay? About $600 a year. And our coop was like $500. So altogether, like what, like $1,100? And when you think about it, you might say, $1,000 is a lot of money, but again, you don't need that much money because you can find a $100 coop to get started. And the big deal is, if I went to Whole Foods to buy the eggs that we are making here in our backyard, pasture raised, organic, everything, that would cost us like $10 a dozen. And over here in a year, we're getting over 100 dozen eggs, meaning that in 1 year, we're getting back all of our money in savings by not having to actually do this. But there is something else, okay? And here's what I'm gonna mention. We're not only thinking about egg production, we're also thinking about meat production. And here's why. So we actually have a rooster, and he's a mix between a lamb breed and a meat breed. So my goal is to actually mix him, well, not really mix him, but just basically get his breed so we can actually get hens and roosters for meat. And that way we can process them and save even more money every single year. Not just in eggs, but also on meat. If you're scared of processing chicken, do not be. It is a simple process and you learn it with time. Now, the third thing is, this can also be a side hustle for our family because eventually, as we keep producing and producing more hens and more roosters, we're gonna have excess, and we can actually go ahead and sell that to our neighbors, to people, and make some extra money to actually cover all the costs associated with keeping chickens. So overall, if you ask me, Tommy, is it worth it to have backyard chickens? The answer is they produce fertilizer, meat, eggs, company, they're very pretty, and they're very fun to take care of. Overall, for me and my family, it's gonna be a yes.